So this month we are getting a proper double dose of the author guest host that I've invited to the show. Paul D. Smith is a fantasy writer much like myself. He's developed a great series of books called Jason and the Draconauts. I featured him in an interview back during my very first season, and I'm enthusiastic to see what books he has provided for you today.
Hello, my name is Paul Smith. I'm the author of the Jason and the Draconauts series, as well as the 5th adventure series of modules for Dungeons & Dragons. However, today I'm here to talk to you about my 10 recommendations for reading and or audio listening material for 2005. So let's start with number 10. Number 10 is a graphic novel, or in this case it's been broken up into two. So this is the Green Lantern Sinestro Corps War graphic novels. They split the story up into two novels, as you can see here. And the reason I really enjoyed this was, well, first of all, I am a fan of the superhero Green Lantern. But second, the Sinestro Corps War was such an amazing story from the point of view of it really captured the essence of what the character Green Lantern is about. Number 9 is going to be a title that's familiar to most of us. However, many of us really only know this story through the movies, but I would like to introduce us to the OG Jurassic Park novel by Michael Crichton. So I was a teenager when this actually came out in print form, and oh my gosh, did this open my eyes to what fiction can do when weaving it in with real life science. But oh, what a great story. It was so original for the time that it came out. The movie's great. Special effects are wonderful. The John Williams score is amazing. However, if you really want the full Jurassic Park experience, go to the OG, the novel, and I wouldn't even say go to the sequel, which was The Lost World. Not as good of a story, but Jurassic Park, the original, was amazing, so highly recommend that. So number 8 may come as a little bit of surprise to some of you readers out there because it's gotten some criticism that this story wasn't particularly well written, but I'm going to hold up Ready Player One. Now, this is the movie cover. The original cover looked a lot different than this by Ernest Cline. So Ready Player One, I didn't find out about until not too long ago. But it hit on all the nostalgia markers for me. Just such a great story. I would recommend it for a little bit of light reading, as a matter of fact. So number 7 on my list, I actually don't have something to hold up for you because it's an audiobook. I highly recommend the audio version of World War Z. This might not be something that's at the top of people's list, especially after the movie that came out that wasn't that good. But if you listen to the fully dramatized audio version of World War Z, you are in for a treat because the producers have brought in so many different voice actors and some really high-name voice actors, high-profile folks, that this sounds like you are listening to like a Ken Burns documentary of how the zombie apocalypse broke out. Number 6 is another graphic novel, and this graphic novel was adapted into a movie back last decade, but this might be familiar to a lot of you. It's Captain America, the Winter Soldier, but really a great character dive, not only into Bucky and what happened to him, but into Captain America, Steve Rogers himself. So highly recommend Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So number 5 on my list is the one item of nonfiction that I wanted to share with you all. So, but it's a book by Max Lucado called 6 Hours, One Friday. And some things from this book, even only having read it once. So he's got 3 main themes in this book. The themes are, my life isn't futile, my failures aren't fatal, and my death isn't final. Even when I was at a dark place, those 3 mantras, especially the first 2, just kept repeating in my head. 4 is, this is The Hobbit. I'm sure you all are familiar with The Hobbit and with Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series. The reason I chose The Hobbit, because when little Paul was really first starting to read, The Hobbit was one of the first books I picked up, getting into longer form fiction, especially fantasy. And it was really that gateway into not only just the world of Tolkien, but to the gateway of fantasy genre itself. Book number 3, again, is representative of a series. And the Harry Potter series had such an effect on both myself as a reader and as a writer. Harry Potter is, I feel like it should be on any recommendation list for people that are kind of getting into reading fantasy as a whole, looking for works for young people. So number 2 is a graphic novel, The Batman The Long Halloween. Let me turn that cover so you can see it a little bit better. So in my opinion, this is one of the seminal Batman stories that's out there. It's a murder mystery at its heart, but it also is a character study, not just into Batman, but in the main villain, who I'm not going to spoil because that's part of the story. Highly recommend Batman: The Long Halloween. And so finally, it's another novel series about a wizard named Harry, but it's not Harry Potter. This is Jim Butcher's novel series called The Dresden Files. And what I'm holding up here, hopefully you can see it, is one of the ones that I highly recommend. Now, this is farther along in the series. It's called Skin Game. But the Dresden Files series, which I think at the time it has around 17 or 18 books to it, so it's been around for a long time. It is contemporary fantasy, and it is about a detective in Chicago who also happens to be a wizard. It really is an excellent work of storytelling, of character building. The reason I held up the book Skin Game, which is around book 12 or 13, is this is one of the audiobooks that I've gone back to and listened to multiple times. So that is the end of my 10 recommendations. I hope you really appreciate it and maybe take some time to read something new. Again, my name is Paul Smith. My series, Jason and the Draconauts, is available on Amazon, as well as the first 2 Fifth Adventures modules for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So thank you for your time. Happy reading, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.